Global Times, 22nd of March 2024, in a diplomatic paper, Japan sees a risky trilateral alliance with the US and the Philippines to restrain China. The threat China poses to democratic countries worldwide has caused the globe to awaken. Japanese media made public details of Japan's annual foreign policy paper on Thursday. The country appears to be sticking to its tough stance toward China while emphasizing strengthening trilateral relations with the US and the Philippines to restrain China's peaceful development. Chinese analysts issued a warning, stating that Japan's true goal is to develop its military and carry out a constitutional change, and that collaboration between the US, Japan, and the Philippines might eventually become regular. They pleaded with Japan, which has significantly benefited from a peaceful and prosperous Asia-Pacific region for many years, to refrain from cooperating with US-led efforts to divide and militarize the area, as this would surely be detrimental to Japan's overall interests. Their comments followed Kyodo News report on Thursday, which cited a draft of Japan's annual foreign policy report. The report stated that Japan will stress the need to strengthen cooperation with the US and the Philippines to counter China's efforts in the Asia-Pacific area. According to the Diplomatic Blue Book for 2024, China has been continuing and intensifying its attempts to change the status quo by force unilaterally and military activities in the South and East China Seas and the waters bordering Japan. According to the draft seen by Kyodo News, China's actions have placed Japan in the most severe and complex security situation, which should be addressed by working with like-minded nations, including not only its close security ally, the US, but also the Philippines, Australia, and South Korea. As tensions between China and Japan have increased recently, Japan has improved its portrayal of China in its military strategy documents and diplomatic blueprints. In its diplomatic report from the previous year, Japan named China the greatest strategic challenge. According to De Jigaong, director of the Institute of Northeast Asian Studies at the Heilongjiang Provincial Academy of Social Sciences, this year's relatively tough stance and hawkish tone toward China will hinder mutual understanding among people and economic and trade cooperation. These factors are detrimental to overall stability and the healthy development of bilateral relations. The Global Times quoted them. Right-wing forces in Japan have been actively pushing for constitutional amendments in recent years, De noted. They have done this by constantly inventing excuses, such as exaggerating external threats and promoting the notion that Japan should become a normal country with the ability to defend itself. Professor Li Haidong of the China Foreign Affairs University chastised Japan for being under US security dominance and lacking strategic decision-making autonomy. In all honesty, the Asia-Pacific area has prospered and been safe for many years, with Japan being one of the main winners. Li argued that Japan should not support US-led efforts to militarize and divide the area, since doing so would harm Japan's overall interests. Regarding trilateral cooperation, the United States, Japan, and the Philippines have recently stepped up their security cooperation. On April 11, in Washington, Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will have his first ever trilateral meeting with US President Joe Biden and President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. of the Philippines. According to Kyodo, they are anticipated to decide on closer cooperation. De added that Japan is attempting to create multilateral alliances with partners like the Philippines and Australia, suggesting its desire to restrain China jointly. This contrasts with the past, when it depended more on its bilateral partnership with the US. With talks on the prospect of joining the assertive military cooperation framework known as AUKUS, which consists of the US, UK, and Australia, Japan's collaboration with the Philippines and the US has progressed from bilateral to multilateral, according to De. The US, Japan, and the Philippines are trying to use their alliance to pressure China on the territorial issue between China and the Philippines. Still, Li told the Global Times that this strategy is unlikely to be successful. The US is attempting to intensify tensions regarding Taiwan to hasten the creation of an Asia-Pacific branch of NATO, with Japan and the Philippines serving as central pawns in this maneuver. I warn that this trilateral collaboration will considerably worsen the security situation in the West Pacific region. Additionally, De foresaw that in the future, the trilateral collaboration may solidify into a routine that includes military drills, island landing exercises, cooperative maritime patrols with other nations, and using the Philippines' ASEAN membership to influence other ASEAN nations.